Hello everyone and welcome to Season of War. Tonight we are back for another short Age of Sigmar video. My name is Fabian and today we're going to talk about the new update for October 2024. Without further ado, let's get started. This update is pretty short, it's not a battle scroll, it just comes as a monthly update to fix a few things and do a bit of balance, but it's going to be pretty minimal. First, for the core rules, we have a few changes and FAQs. First, a clarification on the core rules for abilities that allow you to replace a dice roll and you have to replace before rolling, like for instance with the Slanesh battle trait. Then, a change or more so a clarification on the coherency for returning models. And when you return models, you have to be within coherency range of one model that was not returned this turn, or within the coherency range of two models that were not returned this turn if there are 7 or more models at the time of returning the model. So if you have already 6 models on the table and you're trying to bring back a 7th one, it's going to have to be in coherency with 2 models. It's a good clarification, there was some confusion about it, now it's clear for everyone. Next, there is a change on how manifestation's control characteristic is considered for other abilities, like for instance Usher and Strike Last, and they decided that for this purpose, manifestation will be considered to have a control score of 0, meaning that Usher's ability will always succeed. After that, we have just a small clarification on what finishing to deploy your army means, and it's just for some abilities that allow you to reset up some units like the Mask in Slanesh or the Changeling in Tzeentch, and they clarified that the army is set up the first time all the deploy abilities have been used, so the resetup for this unit is after. It will not change who gets the choice of going first in the game. Another clarification we have is about returning units, and no, they do not keep their enhancements. There are new units, therefore they don't have artifacts or heroic traits. And the last point for the core rules is about a wizard in a Regiment of Renown, and yes, they can cast spell from the universal manifestation lore that you have picked for your army. Next step is the General's Handbook, and for that we only have one change, and it's on the Battle Plan Star Strike. The difference is that now, if the objective would land on a faction terrain, it will destroy the faction terrain and any unit that is on it. Otherwise, with other type of terrains, it's like before. That battle plan was already not really competitive. It's probably making even less. More fun though, so perfect for casual events. It's going to create some really fun stories with LRL being one shot, but keep it away from tournaments. Now on to the changes to faction, and first we start with Order. And the biggest change from Order, and actually for the entire FAQ for today, is on Lumineth. The Hurricane battle trait has been nerfed. Instead of allowing units to move their full move characteristic, they're gonna move 2d6 now instead. So it's a huge change from 14 or 18 to 7 on average. And more importantly, it's also gonna be unreliable. So that means that Lumineth players will have to play more carefully if they still want to use it. The other change is regarding the River Blades. And now they can only use their combat abilities if they are in combat. They cannot use it to charge after running, teleporting, redeploying, or anything like that. It's a good change for the balance of the units, but they probably need to go down in points now. They went up in points in the previous battle scroll because of this ability that was very powerful. Now that it's been nerfed, the unit probably needs to be cheaper. Regarding Seraphon, there's just a change on the ability Arcane Vassal, and they changed the wording to be for the next spell used this phase, so it doesn't work for next turn, as well as clarifying that the target is the one being used for measuring range for instance, Unbinding. For Order, we also have quite a few changes, since this FAQ comes along the release of the Stormcast Battletome. So it brings a few erratas compared to what you're gonna find directly in your Battletome. So Praetors, like previously, have been changed to work even for units in reserve. The Stormstrike Paladors, their mounts is on a 5-up to hit in the Battletome. It's intended to be a 4-up to be coherent with the other version of Paladors. The Hurricane Crossbows have a new ability, and they want it to work only in your shooting phase, like most shooting abilities, so it doesn't work with covering fire. For the Lord Vigilant on Morgreath, it's just a small errata. The ability used to say cannot be targeted by commands. Now it just cannot use commands, which is how the wording should be in 4th edition. For the Deus Arcanum, the manifestation on which you can put your wizards, it's basically the same change as before. It was just not implemented in the Battletome, so they brought it back. And finally, to come with that new battle tome, there are also quite a few points adjustments. Crondis goes up 20 and the long strike go up 10. And then we have a lot of points drop for units that were not really played. Some 10 points here and there for the heroes, but the one that will probably be quite impactful is actually 10 points down for both variants of Annihilators and 10 points for the Vindictors. The Drake Swan Templar and the Lord Aquila all go down 20 points, and there is a 30 points discount on Gardus and the Knight Draconis, but also on the Hurricane Crossbows, who are now super cheap with only 100 points for free. And finally, the Celestan Prime is down 40 points, meaning he's cheaper than Indrasta for the first time ever, and he needed that because he was not really seeing the table. Now on to Chaos, and first there is a pretty decent change for the Beast of Chaos. They updated the ability of the Bestigors, which is a reaction when an enemy unit uses all-out defense within 6, and before that it was adding 1 to the attack characteristic, which was not really working since the attacks already had been assigned and you could not add them then. Now they made it easier, but also stronger. So now, if a unit uses all-out defense within 6 inches, you will just crit on 5s instead of 6s. So it works even if the unit of Bestigors is alone, and it really stops your opponent from using all-out defense, making them effectively an extra rend in combat, so up to pretty much rend 3 with the Hearthstone. For Slanesh, they just fixed the timing of the battle trait, where it was lacking the once per battle round before, so technically you were able to use it more than once. And they also fixed Inessa, where the declare ability of her spell was missing the part where it says that you actually have to roll 2d6. And for Skaven, some very minimal changes, some base size have been updated and fixed to reflect what is in the box. There were some issues in the battle profiles. The Plague Pack, the new unit coming from Underworld, is slightly changed to be unmodified ones for the chanting rolls instead of just rolls of 1. The Army of Renown Fankol's Mutated Menagerie has a few erratas to make it smoother on how it's supposed to be played. And there are also a few small FAQs that clarify some things. I just invite you to take a look at them if you play Skaven. And finally, for today's video, we have Death, since there is no update on Destruction. And with that, the Soulblight Gravelords. Lokavi's Impaling Talons are fixed to work because now it's charged this turn and not this phase, which was not possible. The Vampire Lord lost the core keyword for its teleport to be in adequation with the other teleports of the same style that were fixed in the previous battle scroll. So now if you fail the roll, you can still move. And finally, took some time, but a change on Belladama. Her ability specifies that it works on companions, so, well, now it works. And that's it for today. It was a pretty short update, mostly with the few erratas and updates in points for the Stormcast, considering that new battle tome is getting released, and a decent balance update for Lumineth, nerfing both the subfaction that was really good, like with Hurricane, as well as the Riverblades. That should actually have quite a big impact on the meta, considering how Lumineth was still dominating even after the nerf from the previous battle scroll. So we'll have to see how things shake out. It will be interesting to see what the meta is at the World Championship or Warhammer next month in Atlanta, where John and I will be playing. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought, and we'll see you in the next video.